Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever PC build. A little bit about me quickly. I'm a Mac fanboy and have used Macs, iMacs, Mac Minis, MacBook Pros for the last 2 to 3 years. And unfortunately my MacBook Pro 2015, I dropped it while travelling in Australia recently and it's finally died on me. So instead of, I went to the Apple store and to fix it, it was going to cost, £500–600. It was already 5 years old, so I thought I need an alternative. So I wanted to build a PC. I've never built one before. I'm a little bit tentative on PCs, but I wanted to edit in 4K and have a fast machine. And after doing some research on YouTube, I came across a guy called TechNotice. I'll link him in the description. And he, did a walkthrough of a cheap budget 4K editing PC. So this setup cost around £790. I ordered the parts on Amazon, and I'll talk you through them quickly. But if you want a more thorough, in-depth, review and analysis of the components, probably go to TechNotice. I'll link in the description. He talks through each one, thoroughly. But I'll go through quickly with the parts. I've got the MSI Gaming Plus Max motherboard. My GPU graphics card is an NVIDIA GTX 1660, 6GB. I got the AMD Ryzen 5 3600 processor. My RAM is the Ballistix gaming memory 16. Oh shit! He broke it. 16GB RAM. I've got 650-watt Seasonic power supply, a non-modular one. And then I bought a Arctic case fan. I unfortunately bought one. I've ordered another one now to come, as it's not going to be enough, I don't think. I've got the Rocket Sabrent 512GB solid state drive. I've got a 4TB, still in the packaging, the 4TB Seagate hard drive. And then I've got a cheap Wi-Fi adapter for Wi-Fi. So I'll do a little time lapse of me building the PC. Hopefully I don't break anything. I'm a little bit nervous about all the static issues that can happen, but I'll make sure I touch the case or anything before touching any of the intricate components. So enjoy. Hey guys, so to start with, obviously I had a bit of a nightmare trying to get the tempered glass off the front, but managed to figure out that it wasn't that difficult after a bit of trial and error. I then went on to install the motherboard connector into the back of the Phanteks case. I had a few issues throughout the build, being a bit too tentative, pushing in the components. But after a firm push, they all seem to click in fairly easily. I then went on to put in the Arctic fan case, 120mm, into the back of the case. I flipped it around to account for the airflow issues the case has. So this fan at the bottom was, I think, bringing in clean air, and then the top default fan was taking hot air out. So I'll drive it in, 4TB. I then went on to put in my my Ryzen processor into the motherboard. I took out the brackets first, the two brackets parallel to the processor slot. I think I read this was so I could put in the heatsink, a lot more easily. I had an issue initially with the CPU. I clamped it down, but I didn't actually have the pins fully aligned. The CPU has thermal paste already applied on the heatsink, so I didn't need to do anything there. Screwed in the spring-loaded screws not too tight, and then plugged it into the CPU. And then I had some issue with the RAMs. I cut this up, but this took me a while. I was really scared not to break the pins, so I was being really gentle, but it does take a decent amount of force to actually press them in and get the sort of brackets to snap and lock it in place. So the longest part of the video, and also the funniest in my opinion, is us trying to put in the solid state drive, the Sabrent drive. I'll let it play out and then I'll talk over some parts. So it hovers. Oh wait, there must be supports then. No, support screws. Insert. Yeah, but it can't just hang. It can't hang. Actually insert it in. Look. Yeah, but it'll just hang like that. You know what I mean? It'll be hanging. Is that correct? It says that. What's that? That's gonna bend though. It's fine, mate. How much that's bending?
It's meant to. Look, necessary screw or hardware as instructed below.
That doesn't seem right. That's bending, mate.
Maybe you meant to install it into a lower bracket.
So as you can see here, I'm doing something very silly and screwing in the screw directly on top of the solid state drive, causing it to bend downwards.
I think how you had it was fine.
I'm trying to think what you...
I don't know why you were overdoing it. It was fine. It was in there. It was working.
It's not meant to be at an angle, mate. I promise you.
That guy just had it at an angle.
Can I see it again? How I did it?
So clearly, obviously, something was wrong, and the solid state drive was at an angle that, to me, just seemed very wrong.
Screws. That's what we're missing.
Why too?
Look. So that goes in, and another midi screw goes on top of it. Fucking knew it, man.
But that was all there was, mate, with it. So why would... That was all there was.
That goes in. There should be a mini screw.
Fuck. Why? That was all there was, mate.
Trust me.
And then it's a eureka moment. I figured out there was obviously another part in the motherboard box, which was the mini screw to go on top of the screw that was already in place in the motherboard.
There we go. There we go.
We then went on to put the motherboard into the Phanteks case, which was just a matter of aligning the motherboard screws to the case screws.
Okay, nearly there. I can see the points now.
I'm not in.
Nearly there.
Am I not in?
No, there you are. Nearly there now. Right?
Yeah, we're in. That's all lined up.
Yeah, I told you. Perfection, there you go. All lined up.
Aha! Woo!
The next process, which I found quite tedious and sort of intricate, because you have to sort of squeeze cables in and around the case and the motherboard, was just plugging it all in, all the power supply, the 650 watt Seasonic power supply cables into the motherboard and powering everything on and doing some tests. Next, we put in the GPU, the NVIDIA GeForce GT 1660 graphics card into the GPU slot in the motherboard. Similar to the RAM, I was very cautious not to push it in too hard, but it did click in, and then we aligned it to the brackets on the left and screwed it in. And then it was the best bit of the build, just powering it on and seeing your creation come to life, which is very satisfying. And we got there eventually with the help of my best mate Nathan. I don't think I could have done it on my own. I don't have the patience really. But if you are considering getting a PC, it's a cheaper alternative to Mac, and you can get 2-3 times the specs for half the price, if not less. I'll give it a go, especially over quarantine.